Welcome to Inside ULM Athletics with Scott McDonald, Athletic Director. I'm John Lewandowski, your host. And Scott, it's hard to believe, but it's 5 months since the last time we had one of these programs. And the world of intercollegiate athletics is certainly much different today than it was back in mid-March.
Was it just 5 months? I mean, my goodness, it seems like a lot longer than that.
And that's the doggone truth. We have a lot of topics to discuss today. Prospects for football season this fall, the ongoing Warhawk Club membership drive. But first, I want to go back to the spring a little bit and talk about some of the highlights that maybe some people have missed during that time. But when you think about what the student-athletes accomplished this spring, given that some of their worlds were turned upside down, season were canceled, but you had a combined GPA of 3.41 for the student-athletes, 67% achieved better than a 3.0 grade point average. In addition to that, you had 55 more student-athletes graduate. What a testament to them kind of channeling their energy from being competitors in the field to being competitors in the classroom.
Yeah, well, first I want to acknowledge those student athletes for, like you said, performing there in the classroom under some fairly difficult circumstances. But I also want to acknowledge our staff, Carmen Wright and her support staff with our student athletes, our coaches that get involved with encouraging and supporting our student athletes in terms of, hey, have you gotten your assignments done? Are you on top of it? We have administrators that are constantly, encouraging our student athletes to take care of their business in the classroom, and this spring certainly paid off.
The other thing that's kind of lost sometimes too, Scott, is the way they had to make that quick transition where you had the virtual academic support that so many of them took advantage of with their tutorial sessions. But even the program that Ben Jacobs put together for the student-athletes to start their off-season conditioning program, and the same thing with J.D. Donovan putting together a program where they could remain healthy. That happened so quickly and so seamlessly. It was impressive.
Well, it's like our faculty and staff on the academic side of the campus. They had to go from in classroom face-to-face instruction to online. They made that adjustment. Well, to your point, our staff did the same thing. Ben Jacobs and his staff, tremendous job. Staying in contact with student athletes, keeping them, in shape to the extent they could, encouraging them, talking to them about nutritional choices and that sort of thing. J.D. Donovan and his staff's done a tremendous job. Want to acknowledge also Todd Dooley putting together our COVID group within athletics and the individuals there that put together the protocols that we have that continues to keep our student athletes, our staff and administration, safe on that side of campus.
You, under your leadership, you've always talked about allowing student athletes to pursue excellence in the classroom, in competition, and as well as in the community. And despite the shortened academic calendar, student athletes still volunteered more than 2,500 hours of community service. And when you try to put a dollar figure on that, that's more than $63,000. You go back to the previous year where we did have the full season and they could go throughout the spring and volunteer their time. That number jumps to $89,000. I know you're awfully proud of the time they spend in the community.
Absolutely. That's very important to us. I know our student athletes get a huge kick out of it, as well as our staff and administration to get involved in those projects. And, our goal this year was to exceed last year's total. We had about 3,500 hours of community service in 18-19. So for 19-20, we were going to exceed that. We were well on the way to do that, and to know what that means. I'm glad you put that in financial figures, so that people can see that we can in fact make material contributions back to the community in which we're living.
There's still a great deal of uncertainty heading towards this college football season. Recent announcements by the Atlantic Coast Conference and Southeastern Conference talked about going to a conference-only schedule. And despite that uncertainty, though, and a lot was written yesterday when some of the news broke about the potential loss of $3.2 million in guaranteed revenues. One, that's not necessarily the case. But number two, you still believe that the opportunity to play a 12-game full schedule is there.
Sure. We'll have discussions at an appropriate time with the authorities at University of Georgia and University of Arkansas. And, certainly we're prepared to fulfill our contractual obligations, and I'm sure we're going to expect them to do the same, and so we'll have those discussions and see where that leads to us, going with those contracts. And then yes, we do intend to play a 12-game season this year. I think it's important for our community. It's important to our student athletes. I think it's important to our students here on campus to have that to look forward to. So we've been aggressively looking for games to fill the scholarship slots that we're going to. Fill the scheduling slots that we have, and and we'll take it from there. I think we have a chance to maybe look at some attractive matchups for our fans and our student athletes.
The one thing you have learned over the last 5 months is the flexibility part of it, and it's probably one of those times where you really appreciate the steady hand of Matt Viator leading the football program.
Absolutely. We were fortunate to attract Coach Viator here just recently. Was able to get him to agree to a 2-year extension to his contract, and I felt like, exactly that. He provides the kind of leadership. In ordinary times you see it, but right now when you really need leadership through some of these, really changing, difficult times, his hand, his steady hand, the way he handles these things has been an inspiration to all of us, and it's certainly helped us in getting prepared for this football season. And I appreciate very much, Coach Viator and really all of our coaches have stepped forward with their student athletes and with their staff, and I think that's going to better prepare us for the fall and spring, certainly.
As we get ready to flip the calendar over to August, I know your staff has been working very hard to make sure they develop protocols that foster a safe game day environment, not only for the competitors, the student athletes, the coaches, administrators, but for the fans as well. Yeah,
and we've been meeting, as you know, Lou, we've been meeting as a game operations staff and looking at the various different scenarios. We've looked across the country. In professional sports, we're learning from their examples. We're looking at, certainly our peers in college football and in volleyball and soccer and those, what kind of protocols are they putting in place for their fans. And so we've been developing what we think is a solid plan so that folks can come and watch the Warhawks this Saturday, but in a safe environment.
It would be impossible to have this conversation without talking about the importance of the Warhawk Club membership drive. Kicked off a little bit late out of respect for people that were trying to manage their own personal finances during the time. But when you look at the numbers, $5.5 million each year towards scholarship, that's more than 1/3 of the operating budget that goes toward providing those educational opportunities for those 400 student athletes. And then when you add that to the cancellation of spring sports and a loss of over $1.1 million with the loss of the NCAA postseason revenues, ticket sales in baseball as well as softball, and then you look at the 10 student athletes who took advantage of the COVID-19 competition waiver, that's going to be an additional scholarship expense of over $2,500, $250,000
correct,
of unplanned expenses.
Yes.
Talk about the importance now that really at this point in time every gift matters towards the Warhawk Club.
Absolutely. We really need our Warhawk community to step up and rally behind us. I've talked to some folks, and they've said, hey, are you playing football? And when you have a better idea, let me know, and I'll buy the tickets or I'll do this. And really what we need for people to understand is whether we play football or not, whether we play volleyball or soccer or not this fall, we need their help more than ever right now. And, in fact, if we don't play, it's even more important, right? Now, we're set up right now, and we mean to go forward with these seasons this fall. We're working. Our student athletes are working hard every day right now in our facilities with the preparation of playing this fall. And you're right. I don't know that people understand how much a scholarship, financially, what it means to the student athlete, but how much it costs the athletic department in terms of that scholarship cost. And we need their help to continue to provide these opportunities for these student athletes.
And the other thing on top of that, Scott, we've talked before about the protocols a little bit, but the protocols that we have for the student athletes who are currently on campus getting ready to open preseason football camp next week, there's that additional cost there from a testing standpoint that, again, was unplanned for because nobody knew back even in February, March what this might mean down the road. So those are other unforeseen circumstances, but this is a chance for people to invest in those student athletes and give them the chance to seek those three things that you've talked about, though, pursuing excellence in the classroom, on the field of competition, and also in the community.
Well, and Lou, this is my community. This is my university. And without this university in this community, I think it would be devastating. I think folks understand what kind of economic impact this university and this athletic program have for our community. And, this university is going to take some cuts budget-wise. There's no question about it. So athletic department is going to take some cuts. No question about it. And so we need people to step up and help us so we can continue to provide these opportunities, continue to provide, entertainment value to this community, something they can come and watch, whether it be the football game on Saturday, whether it be a soccer match, on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whether it be a volleyball game, this fall. I mean, there are lots of different things you can choose from, but we need the community's help to make sure that we can do it in a safe and, healthy way.
You mentioned this is your home, and obviously you've brought stability to that athletic director position. I want to talk, too, because you took the time when we made the announcement about the kicking off the drive for the Warhawk Membership Club. You identified some other priorities, and all these are focused on the student-athlete experience. I kind of want to run through that checklist real quick. But talk cost of attendance, which we hear so much about, and have to be competitive from a recruiting standpoint. The Malone Stadium weight room renovation and the addition of the fueling and nutrition stations. The Malone Stadium lobby and the skybox, a chance to drive additional revenue. A video board installation at Fant Ewing Coliseum. And long-term, the construction of an indoor practice facility, which obviously not only would benefit football, but all the sports.
All of the sports. All of those things we believe, Lou, leads directly back to the student-athlete and improving their experience. As you said, recruiting students here. I mean, when you look at not just the student-athletes, but also the students who come here to be trainers and to be, equipment managers and those roles that they play that support the student athletes. I mean, you're talking about more than 450 students on campus here that athletics is directly responsible for. Those things you just mentioned help all of these student athletes and the support staff for those student athletes. We can bring more students to campus. More students to campus means more money for the community. And we know here for every 110 students that we add to this university, it means about $1 million to the budget. So, think about taking that away or think about adding. I'd rather think about adding to that student total. We need to add more students, provide more opportunities so the university can grow, and that benefits certainly the surrounding community.
I know you've taken great pride in putting together a coaching staff that can make all the sports, all 17 varsity sports, competitive on their respective venues. But without the program can't reach its potential, though, without the support of growing that membership. And with those numbers come opportunities for people to celebrate the accomplishments of the teams and to celebrate championships. So that stuff really does go hand in hand.
Absolutely. You're part of the senior staff. You know how hard we've worked to bring in the coaches that we believe can make us competitive on the field and in the classroom and in the community, and it's important to them. This university is important to them. And, and then support the ones that were here doing a great job, and help them get better. I feel like, my job as athletic director is like, hey, we're going to get good people in place. Now it's our job to support those people, give them the tools to be successful. The things you've mentioned, the Warhawk Drive helps us provide tools for these coaches to be successful, to go out and get student athletes who want to compete in the classroom, who want to compete in the community, and then win championships in the field or courts.
I know for a lot of people, the upcoming fall competition doesn't maybe necessarily seem real at this point in time, but you see the football student-athletes in there working. We've seen men's and women's basketball. Obviously, soccer's about ready to arrive. Volleyball's arriving. The excitement is there, too, from the student-athletes. They want to get back to some sense of normalcy. They want to get back to competing. I think it's important for people in the public to know, too, they want to press forward and press on.
Oh, absolutely. It made me feel good when we finally were allowed to bring student athletes back on a volunteer basis, and they were I could start to hear the music in the strength and conditioning room, and they were working out in very small groups, and to see them around the facility and see the smiles on their faces, and to hear the balls bounce in Fant Ewing Coliseum again, those sorts of things start to make you feel like there's normalcy around the corner. So, as we fight our way as a nation, as a world, as we fight our way through this COVID-19, any sense of normalcy, I think, helps us see that, we're going to get through this and we're going to be better for it.
Lastly, Scott, again, I want you to emphasize one last time the importance of investing and impacting the lives of those student athletes. And what people need to understand, the growth of the numbers cumulatively together, that can make a substantial impact in terms of enhancing that experience and continuing to provide those opportunities for almost 400 student athletes.
Yeah, I mean, no gift is too large, no gift is too small, right? And we want to grow the amount of people that actually contribute to the Warhawk Club, and so that's been part of our outreach as we started this campaign this year. But you keep using the word investment, and that's what it is. We're investing in these young people and giving them the opportunity to participate in the community, get a degree, and then also, learn things on the field and on the courts that they're going to take with them for the rest of their lives. And, I wish people could sit in my chair for a day and get to see these student athletes and how they learn time management and how they juggle all the things in their life and still, just talking about what happened in the spring from an academic standpoint. They take pride in their classroom achievements, just like they take pride on what they do on the fields and in the courts. And then to watch them go out and work with other young people in the community, or go work with situations that where we need to be involved and provide help, and see the interaction with them and the folks that they're working with, and see how they take away from that a better sense of themselves and their ability to make an impact. It really, if you want to invest in that, then I'm not sure what you will invest in. We need your help. We want your help. It's important to us, and like I said, the more people that participate, the better we're going to be.
I know we all look forward to welcoming all of our fans back to campus for fall competition, soccer, volleyball right around the corner, cross country, men's and women's golf, and of course we're all looking forward to that first football Saturday back on the Bayou.
Yeah, we're still looking at a September 5th kickoff, Lou, and that's what we're counting on, and we're going to run that schedule from there, and I think people will be really, really pleased.
Appreciate the time, Scott.
All right, go Warhawks.